Heist is the perfect opener. It has a great premise, it's deceptive, and is incredibly engaging. You can perform it on stage or parlor or even close-up. Here's what it looks like. You need some money and a watch. We'll place them inside this envelope where they'll stay for the rest of the trick. Let's add one more thing. My wedding ring. It goes inside with the watch and the money. But in just a second, everything vanishes from the envelope and appears from where it started. The watch is back on my wrist, the ring is on my finger, and of course the money is back in the wallet. Welcome to Jack Wise's Heist. I'm Andy Gladwin. I'm not the creator of Heist, but I do have some tweaks and updates of my own that I'm going to share with you as I introduce you to Jack Wise's routine. Let's first of all look at the history of the trick. We all know it as ring, watch, and wallet, and most of us associate the trick with Tommy Wonder. Now, Tommy wasn't the creator of the ring, watch, and wallet routine, but he was certainly the one to popularize it. The creator was Oswald Williams, who created the trick for the Mescaline family, and then he didn't use the presentation of I was mugged on the way to the show. Instead, that was created by Oswald Ray, who took the trick to America, and over the years, other performers such as Alan Shexton have performed the routine. But in my mind, it was Tommy Wonder's performance in handling of the effect that really made it popular amongst magicians. Now, the Tommy Wonder routine, which is the one that most people perform if they're performing a ring, watch, and wallet routine, is a full body hookup, and it's quite a complicated setup. And what Jack Wise has done is made it so much easier. In fact, so easy that I'm already wearing the hookup and it's just in my jacket, and you've probably already seen it in your box. It's simply this. He's replaced that full body hookup with basically a magnet and some elastic and some really clever ideas and subtleties. So we first of all need to look at what you have in the box. You've got your two watches. One of these watches is gimmicked, and one of them is not gimmicked. The gimmicked one has a massive magnet in it. We've taken out all of the workings of the watch and replaced it with a large magnet so that the watch closes flat like this. That's going to really help you in the routine. The other watch is ungimmicked. You also get this. This is a small piece of watch strap, and that's going to come into play if you're using my version of the routine. You get a really nice Himba wallet. A Himba wallet, for those who don't know, is a wallet that opens on two sides. So this side, it just looks like a normal wallet, and then on the other side, it has another secret compartment. So this is how you vanish the money. So you need to place $20 or whatever denomination or currency you like in each side. So take two identical bills. Now I fold the bills like this. I fold it in half and then in half again, but a little bit off center so that it sticks out of the wallet quite nicely there. And that's all I have in the wallet. But if you wanted to, you could certainly put some credit cards or other money in the wallet. It would be a nice subtlety because that would show on both sides of the wallet. You also need to provide some envelopes. I just use standard white office envelopes, but you can use whatever envelope you like, but I do find that this size is actually really good for the routine because it allows me to get my hand all the way inside when I'm putting the watch and the money inside, as you'll see in a minute. And that's all of the props, along with this, the pull. So let's talk about how to fit the pull to your jacket. You do need to be wearing a jacket for this. And all you do is take the safety pin end, and I found that pretty much every jacket, it works fine if I just pin it on the inner corner of the inside jacket pocket there, and then it'll just dangle down like this. Now, you are going to need to experiment as you go with this to get the right length. And if you need to shorten it, all you need to do is just wrap the elastic around the safety pin to make it a little bit shorter. But sadly, I can't tell you the ultimate and correct length for you. The only way you're going to find this is to practice and work on the routine. But as we go through the explanation, I'm going to help you by just suggesting the perfect strength of the elasticity that you need. Now, if you're performing my routine, you need two other things. My version of Jack's routine. You need a PK or magnetic ring. I just use the kinetic rings provided like this, and it's just a ring that is ideally a size bigger than the ring you would normally wear. But if you are performing Jack Wise's routine, you can use any ring. It doesn't have to be magnetic. But again, it's a little easier if the ring is bigger than you would normally wear. So I put that on here. Now, during the routine, I say that this is my wedding ring. It's actually not even on the wedding ring finger, it's on the wrong hand, but I think it's perfectly fine to say that, but that's definitely up to you. So you need one other thing, which is some magician's wax. Now this is wax that has been with me literally since I was a kid, hence why it's so destroyed, and it's lasted me hundreds, perhaps thousands of performances of Heist. So just get some any old cheap magician's wax. So these normally cost $1 or $2 for a pot. And I just use part of the broken box or tub to take just a small ball of wax. I roll it into a ball and then I stick it to the side of this metal piece, to the back side of it. Because for my routine, my version of the routine, I then stick that piece inside the envelope. And that's all of the things you need to get going. That's your setup for Heist. So let's walk through Jack Wise's version, Jack Wise's original handling, and then we'll look at my handling afterwards. So to start with that, take an envelope. I like to pucker it out a little bit just to make it a little bit easier in performance to open, and I put the flap inside the envelope, and then I put that envelope inside my inner jacket pocket. And the pull is now at this point just hanging down here. I then take the 2 watches and I put them on my wrist. The magnetic one goes on last, and the normal watch just stays on my wrist throughout the whole routine. Go on the same wrist. By the way, I found when I perform this trick, it's best to, or easiest to wear a short sleeve shirt. You can't tell when I have a jacket on, so it looks absolutely fine, even though I'm pretty sure it goes against every fashion faux pas, but it doesn't matter. Let me just put this watch on the right way. It doesn't matter because nobody is seeing the sleeves in the shirt, but if you decide to wear a long sleeve shirt, of course, you just need to tuck it up, tuck the sleeve up so that the audience can clearly see the watches. So both watches are now on the wrist, with the magnetic one being on the closest to the hand. That's the only one that's going to be removed during performance. Then you pull your jacket down. Let's recap where everything is. I have the Himbo wallet with both notes in my pocket. I have the pull dangling down, envelope is in the pocket, ring is on my finger, and the 2 watches are on my wrist, with the magnetic one being the one that I can take off. So now here's Jack's routine. He starts by using the standard presentation that we all know and love. Jack has his own hilarious version of this, but I'll just stick to the more standard I was mugged on the way to the show style presentation. And you take out the Himbo wallet and you let it fall open so that you can see the money. You take out the money and then naturally close the Himbo wallet and put it in your top pocket. Now, the way that's working is when I close the wallet with my fingers like this and come up to put the wallet in my pocket, it's naturally turning it over. So now this side is where the money is. So I don't have to do any adjustments later in the routine during the reveal. So the wallet goes in my pocket, and I like to leave it sticking out so that the wallet is on view the whole time. And in fact, if you find that your wallet falls down, an easy tip is I just have a folded over playing card in my pocket so that it stays protruding out. So now that you have the money, you keep it folded, or if you open it up to show it, just fold it back up. And now you need to remove the watch. To remove the watch, you have to just be careful that you don't pull your sleeve up too far to expose that second watch. Instead, just let it fall a little bit and take the watch off. Now, many performers who do this like to pull down the watch from their wrist so that the watch is now lower in the wrist. You can certainly do that. It's this moment here that you would do it as you're adjusting your jacket, but actually I prefer just to leave it there because I have the watches so close together that I don't really feel like you need to add that extra moment, which gives something like just an unusual moment that people could maybe backtrack to. So this is the start of Jack Wise's really clever method. He takes the money and puts it inside the watch and then allows the magnet to hold the money inside. So now, when I vanish the watch, I'm automatically vanishing the money. It's so smart. It means that you don't have to worry about the money because you're just going to vanish the watch. So you take the watch in your hand, and now you're going to remove the envelope. And to remove the envelope, you also have to catch on to the pull. And there are several different ways you can handle this. The way that Jack tends to do it is to actually grab the pull as he comes into his wallet, hold it next to the envelope, come along here like this, and now simply take the watch and the money, put it on the back, grab the pull, and then come down. And now you're ready to go with the pull in position like that. Now, I'm going to show you my version of that in a few moments, but I just wanted to show you one other way of doing it if you're not doing my full handling. But however you do it, it's just going to take a little practice to get the right movements down so that you can choreograph it so that you have the pull on the back of the wallet and the money. So now the next thing you do is put the wallet and the money, the watch and the money inside the envelope. And this is the main move of the whole routine. As they go in, you're going to steal them back out using the pull. So the money goes down into the envelope. I found it's best to actually bring the envelope to the money so that you're not stretching the pull too much. So you bring the envelope here, turn it on its side, put everything inside, and now you're just going to let it fire back into your jacket. Now notice there's not really much chance of this flashing because actually everything is quite close to my body. The envelope comes here over my hands, and then I just subtly just let go and allow the watch and the money to fall into my jacket. So this is the point where you need to make sure that the elastic is the right length for you. There's a few tips here. First of all, you don't want to be in a position where you can't move the hand too much. If your hand is restricted to get to here, that's probably wrong. You actually want to be able to pull it a little more than that. And then the next point is you don't want it to be so tight that when you ditch it, it fires out of the back of your jacket and just makes a kind of a movement in the back of the jacket. So you just have to work on it until you get the right tension point. I prefer to think of this more as a piece of string than a piece of elastic. That way I'm not pulling it too much so that I don't get that firing back. The fact it's elastic does help a little bit, but it shouldn't be working like some kind of tight piece of elastic that fires back. So let's quickly go over this ditch one more time. I hold the watch and the money, and I bring my hand up with the envelope. I put everything inside, and by doing that, I curl my fingers around the watch like this, and I put everything inside of my knuckles. And now just watch how small of a movement this has to make. It just goes here and falls into my jacket. Now you might find when you're doing this that you're catching the watch on the jacket. Sometimes that might happen, that as you put it in, it fires like this. See, it's very easy to fix that. You just have to make sure that your hand is around the watch enough and that the face of the watch is towards your body. So long as you do that, when you let go, it's going to be absolutely fine when it drops into your jacket. To rehearse this, I ended up doing this in front of a mirror hundreds, possibly thousands of times. I just get this set up and I just kept ditching until I was happy with the moments. So it just goes here and ditches in. If it's not ditching nicely, just adjust the elastic until you get it. Also remember in performance, you're doing this under misdirection, but there's no real technique to the ditch beyond bringing the envelope to your hand and just gently letting go into your jacket so that everything falls away. So now at this point, you have an empty envelope, but the audience believe that you have the watch and the money inside. It's a really cool moment to be in. So next you need to remove the ring. Some people find that they prefer to have the ring on the other finger, whichever finger you like is absolutely fine. And in fact, in my version, it needs to be in this finger because, as you probably noticed, it's a magnetic ring and it would keep grabbing onto the watch if it was on this finger, but you just put it wherever you like. So now we get to the final phase. You take the ring, you're apparently going to put it inside the envelope, but actually what you're doing as it goes into the envelope is you're rolling the ring onto your thumb like this. So let me show you what it looks like before I explain it too much. It goes in, and it just looks like you're putting it inside, but really you're ditching it onto your thumb. Once you've done that, you just hold your thumb behind the envelope, and now when you're ready to make everything vanish, the ring stays on the thumb throughout this, you pull the envelope closed, and now you can tear up the envelope. Notice how the thumb stays behind the envelope the whole time. Like this, you can tear it up, you can throw it, you can do whatever you like, and the thumb is going to stay behind the envelope the whole time. So once you fold it up, tore it up, you throw, you immediately bring your hand down to your side, and you're now going to put the ring back on the finger from where it came from. And the way I do that is I let my hand fall down my side, I put the ring into essentially finger palm, and then I just immediately put my ring finger into the ring so that it pulls onto the finger. All of this happens down by my side, and it happens under the big motion of throwing the pieces up. So you throw the pieces up, you quickly come down by your side, and then you just put the ring back on. That's why it helps for the ring to be a larger size than normal, because it's much easier to slide it back onto your finger. Remember, this is happening under the misdirection of everything appearing to have vanished. And now, once I've received my applause because of everything's vanished, I'm ready for the reveal. The reveal is very easy because everything is already back in place. So I start by showing that the money is back in the wallet, even though I have the ring on my finger. I'm not worried, the audience won't notice it because I'm moving so quickly. I say the money is back in the wallet. I reach into the wallet, into my pocket, I take out the wallet and open up to show that the money is back. Remember that that's the natural place it was because of how I put it. I don't have to turn the wallet over, I just show the money. At this point, the money and the wallet is actually hiding the ring, which helps for a second. And then I pull my wrist up to show that the watch is back on my wrist. I then close the wallet, putting it into my other hand and show that the ring is back on my finger. So that's Jack Wise's handling. I think it's really economic. I think it's really slick. And also check out his presentation so that you can connect when everything happens. But thanks to Jack's really clever idea of vanishing the watch and the money at the same time, the whole routine is incredibly easy to perform and very practical too. It means you can actually perform it, unlike other versions, really close up. And I think you could even perform this in walk-around environments, which I really like. So now let's go over my version, my handling. There's actually only a few changes that need to be made, but I think you may enjoy what I've done with Jack's trick. But I must reiterate that Jack deserves all the credit for this. I've just added a few little beats to it. So the money goes in the wallet as normal. The two watches are on my wrist, again, exactly as normal. Let's put them on here. And to repeat, I'm using now a PK magnetic ring. So that stays on this finger, not my ring finger, as I said earlier. It actually stays here, but it looks like it's my wedding ring finger, and I call it that in my performance. Now I'm also wearing these. These, in the UK, we call them braces. In other countries, I think they're called suspenders. But the reason I use them is to make the steel actually much easier for me. And I feel like the way I handle it more natural than when I'm doing Jack's original version. And what I do is I take the magnet from the pull and I stick it to the metal part of the braces. Now, the cool part here is that the way we've developed these is a little tiny dot of material. That dot of material tells you which way to put it because that always stays outwards. So that's always facing out, and as long as I feel that, I know I'm ready to go. Now, it's a little crude, but the way I remember this is that little dot, I think of it like a nipple. Literally a little nipple sticking out there. So I could just feel, before I go on stage, I can just feel for the nipple and I know that it's in the right place. Crude, but it works for me. So now you have to make a couple more amendments. What you do is you take that small metal piece that's come with the trick, a little bit of magician's wax, you stick to the back of it, and that's now stuck inside the envelope. I stick it to the back side of the envelope, and it's just there, and the wax is enough to hold on to it. In an absolute pinch, if you run out of wax, I found that actually duct tape just doubled over will also work, but I think wax is a much more appropriate solution, and that just sticks to the back of the envelope. That goes into the pocket, and now you are ready to go. You come out on stage, you perform the trick almost exactly as Jack does it, but here are the changes. You take off, you do the money first, of course. You take the money out of the wallet, you hold on to it, and you put the wallet in your top pocket. Now, this is when the moment happens. Once you get the watch, you put the money in. In my routine, as you would have seen, I say, let's give a round of applause to the spectator. And as they're applauding the spectator, my hand naturally comes down to open my jacket up for me. It's going to look like I do this, but actually what happens is my hand lowers down onto the pull, and now I grab the pull from my braces. So this way, I'm already in position with the pull. I don't have to fumble here, which is what I found myself doing. Jack does it perfectly. Wasn't so good for me. I just found myself fumbling. I guess he's much more natural than me at that kind of move. But now I'm in position. Once I've grabbed this, I open my jacket and I pull out the envelope. Now I open that envelope with one hand, which is why I puckered it earlier. And now I can do the ditch, just as I've already explained. That goes into my jacket. But now I pick up that extra piece of watch and I just give it a casual glance, just casually show it to the audience, and then I stick it back down to the back of the envelope. It's such a small moment, but I found something interesting. The reason I created that exact moment was something I read in a Darwin Ortiz book. He said that, and this, I'll paraphrase it to apply it to this trick, but stick with me. Darwin says, if I put the watch inside this envelope and showed that it had vanished, there is only one moment in time I could have made the magic happen. I could have done the method, and that's between when I put the watch in and when I showed it had vanished. I know that sounds obvious, but it got me thinking, what if there was a way I could break that pattern? So I show the watch, I steal it out, and now I break the pattern by showing a small piece of the watch as if it's still in the envelope, which destroys the moment that could have happened. So once I've shown that piece of watch, I've stuck it back to the envelope from where it came, and I hold the envelope as if I'm holding the watch and the money inside. Now I don't try and overact this, it's just there, but I give it a little bit of weight. And now we need to do the final phase of the ring. I take off the wedding ring, I move the envelope over to the other hand, and I show the ring. Now, instead of doing Jack's fake put into the envelope, I can actually do something slightly different. It goes inside, and I can show my hand to be empty. The reason for that is the piece of metal that's stuck to the back of the envelope. Because the ring is magnetic, it sticks automatically to the piece of metal. So now it just hangs out there on the back of the envelope and just stays there so that I can show my hands empty. And the envelope looks like something is inside. And then when I'm ready to do the vanish, here's how easy it is. I put my hand down and I steal the ring onto my finger, and then I move to close up the envelope. From the front, let me show you what that looks like. So placing it inside, looks like it goes in. And now I just bring my hand down and automatically and quickly I have the ring back on my finger. The audience aren't going to notice the ring here at this point, so don't worry there. I pull the envelope closed. I put my thumb on the back of the envelope at the point where the piece of metal is, and now I rip up the envelope, screw it up into a big ball, and then throw it into the air to show that everything has vanished. Now at this point, you might be concerned about that piece of metal. I found when I've taught this routine to other magicians, after the show, they very quickly jump down to the floor to grab it because they don't want to lose that piece of metal. But actually, I would say don't be concerned about it because that's going to tip things off. So instead, what I do is I finish the performance and then I just grab it as I'm tidying up the stage. So don't pay any attention to that because it will create some attention for the audience. So now we've shown that everything is vanished and we get to do the reproduction just as I've already shown. The money is back in the wallets, the watch is on my wrist, and the ring is back on my finger. And that's my small addition to Jack Wise's really great routine called Heist. I hope you enjoy performing it. I think it's a wonderful routine. You can certainly add your own presentation to it, or you can use Jack's with his really great gags, or if you like, you're very welcome to use mine with the game show presentation. Thanks for watching, thanks for purchasing Heist, and we will see you soon.